If I was starting Facebook ads over in 2025, I'd do this. My goal with today's video is to show you exactly where to focus on before you start looking into your ad account structure, creatives, and whatnot. There are a lot of things to consider besides just ads. We're going to talk about ads for sure, but also everything in between, from offer funnel, product market fit, and more. And these are all lessons I've amassed after personally working with over 250 businesses, either through our Ad Engine Inner Circle or our paidadvertising.com agency. And so therefore, if you're new to the channel, you know who I am. My name is Justin Lalonde, and I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, where on the one hand, we help businesses implement a scalable ad engine, and on the other, we grow e-com and info businesses to multi-seven figures with paid ads. So let's get straight into today's video. So here's the hierarchy that for me actually has proven to be the most important, okay? In the last 2 years, I've started to transition from just working with e-commerce businesses to working with a lot more info product and coaching businesses. And now I'd say we're about half-half at the agency. And so by working with more info product and coaching companies, I've kind of realized a few things that I feel weren't as obvious in the e-com space. One of those things actually right here is that by far, and I think several people underestimate this, by far the most important thing in your entire advertising funnel is going to be the offer / product market fit. And I'm going to explain how and why I've split the two. So now let's define what an offer is. I feel like everybody's got the offer part wrong. They just think that their product is the offer. So as an example, I'm selling an iPhone 16 Pro. Well, that's my offer, right? So it's my offer is a 16 Pro iPhone. It's not an offer, right? This is a product. Or other people are going to say, well, I have a 14-day money back guarantee. That's my offer. It's not an offer, it's a guarantee, right? So what is an offer? And for this, I want to get back to Alex Hormozi's definition of what an offer is, because I think he has laid out to me the best equation to what an actual true offer really stands for. So if we follow that right here, his definition goes like this. So value equal the following. So dream outcome multiplied by the perceived likelihood. So I'm just going to put a P right here, perceived likelihood of achievement divided by the time delay, so how long it's going to take to get there, multiplied by the effort and sacrifice. And so again, kind of going back to this right here is what exactly does my prospect desire? So in other words, I could say my mass market desire, right? Because I talk a lot about mass market desires on the channel right here. So mass market desire is what I could say, times how likely is it that I am going to get or fulfill this mass market desire, right? Or I could flip it around and say, what do I truly don't desire? So I could do a negative desire. What do I actually hate or fear to happen in my life? And how likely am I to actually get away from that and not have that happen through the solution? So this could also work on a negative. Divided by time delay. So how long it's going to take to get there, times the effort and sacrifice. So how much effort am I going to have to put here? Is this going to be the type of thing where I have to deadlift 500 pounds, or is it going to be like deadlifting, 20 pounds? See what I mean? So that being said, this is what creates the value in an offer. And so what are examples of offers right here? Well, then an example of an offer is something like this, like lose 15 pounds in 90 days, or it's free. And you could go even as far, so you could add and I'll wire you $100 for wasting your time. What's my dream outcome? What's my mass market desire in here? I want to lose weight, okay? I want to lose 15 pounds as an example. How likely am I to achieve that? Well, honestly, the company offering that to me is so confident that if I don't achieve it, they're going to give me all of this product or solution completely for free and wire me money. So honestly, chances are this is pretty much going to happen. Now, time delay, well, 90 days, okay? 3 months. Okay, so 3 months is not that long, right? Times effort and sacrifice. Well, let's say I could add in, this is not clear in this offer, but in the ad, I could talk about, let's say a done for you meal preparation, 20-minute home workouts. And so now it becomes much easier for me to do that and fit that in my day and be like, yeah, no, honestly, I think I can fit a 20-minute workout, and so on and so forth, right? It's not like I have to fit 7 hours worth of workout a week as an example, okay? And so that's just an example of an offer right here, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Now, going back to this little sort of funnel I designed earlier. I want to highlight product market fit, okay? I made a video recently talking about how going outside of the US bubble actually increases ROAS in a lot of cases. And so truth is, one thing that you have to keep into consideration when building an offer like this is the market sophistication, okay? So it's basically how sophisticated my market is in regards to said desire. So if the desire is right here, the desire being the dream outcome, right? Which in this case is losing weight, okay? How many solutions have been offered to my persona or audience about losing weight, okay? How sophisticated is this market? And so if we're talking about the US as an example, well, you and I both know that there's tons of fitness coaches, there's supplement companies, there's, gyms, there's so many solutions out there advertising to an audience on how to lose weight. So then therefore the audience is very sophisticated. So then your offer has to be a little more complex with higher risk reversal because the perceived likelihood of achievement has actually become a lot harder to help the audience perceive, if that makes sense. Meaning that they've tried so many other solutions before that they kind of don't really trust that they're going to be able to achieve the outcome through most solutions in the market nowadays. So you have to come out with bigger and better claims to help them do so. And so market sophistication is going to impact how beefed up the offer is, or how much work you're going to have to put in the perceived likelihood of achievement section of said offer. But product market fit, what this does is if you take this offer in a market, and I'm throwing things right here in markets that I don't fully know or understand, but I'm going to take a bet and say that probably in Nepal, as an example, there might be less fitness coaches or less gyms or less advertising that has been done to sell the audience on this dream outcome of losing weight. And so if I come into that market, I don't have to have as beefed up of an offer or as intense of a guarantee. The chances are that if I just come in and if somebody is new to market, which is stage one, okay, so stage one meaning you're new to market, you just have to state the claim. So the claim could just be lose 15 pounds in 90 days, as an example, right? And so that might be enough for me to say like, oh, fuck it, right? I have never seen an ad about that. So like, yeah, I think I'm going to be able to achieve it, right? Because nobody has ever promised or made that claim to me before. And so one of the reasons why I've mentioned in one of my recent videos that people should be getting outside of the US is just there's so much less competition from a market standpoint. And typically you don't have to have an offer that is as sophisticated as you would in the US. And so arguably speaking, making an offer for a stage one or stage two market sophistication audience is much easier to do. Like this is, you just state what is the transformation you're selling them, which is, hey, lose 15 pounds in 90 days. Great. Okay, cool. Now it's enough to get people to convert. Whereas in the US, you have to do some like backflips and twist yourself all different ways just to kind of get somebody to buy, because you have to wire them money if it doesn't work and whatever, because nobody trusts you anymore because of how sophisticated the market is. And so what I realized is our clients getting the best results have one, yes, a solid offer. They typically have put a lot of thought and effort to what is their value engine, okay? What does value represent in their business? They've put a lot of thought to this equation right here. But not only that, they've typically chosen to also go in a market that is slightly less sophisticated, okay? And that's one of the biggest pros I can give to anybody that is starting, if you want, with Facebook ads this year, because you most likely, like if you're probably going to see a lot of people thriving in the US or appearing to be thriving. Let me tell you, if you see some of these people's ad accounts on the back end, they're not as profitable as you might think. And so you might see a lot of people advertising in the US, but it doesn't mean that you should. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't either. I'm just saying that if you are going to go into the US, just know you're going to have a lot more work in the perceived likelihood of achievement section of your offer, whereas you won't in a non-US market, which makes it easier actually to advertise and make money. So this is the most important, because I'm telling you, so if you sell to the market what they want to a slightly also unsophisticated market, you can run almost any type of Facebook ad or any type of organic pieces of content or any type of YouTube ad or any type of cold emails. People will come rushing to buy. This below becomes a whole lot less important. You can make a lot more mistakes here and here if you figured out this first part, okay? And this is why I've built this as a funnel, because it's like this will make your job 1,000 times easier here and here. But it's the same truth for this step 2 now in this video, which is going to be funnel or conversion mechanism, okay? So funnel / conversion mechanism. If you put a lot of effort here, you're not going to have to put as much effort here. And so the question is, what type of funnel are you going to be using, and how are you going to work to convert the masses? And so are you going to be doing a VSL, or are you going to be doing a webinar, Are you going to be doing straight to a product page? So like an e-commerce funnel. Are you going to be an advertorial, right? A listicle, a challenge funnel, a low ticket offer, a free course offer, or a lead magnet offer, or what exactly you're going to be choosing as a funnel. And that actually has quite a lot of impact, right? This honestly will depend on the industry you're in. So I cannot give like an overarching answer to everyone watching this video and say, hey, for everyone, you should run a VSL. No, of course not, right? But it could be one of all the choices I mentioned earlier, which each of those, I have a separate video on the channel actually breaking down different funnels that I use at the agency and when we use these different funnels. So I highly recommend you check this one out if you want to learn when to pick different funnels or conversion mechanisms. But this is super important because this will impact tremendously the performance of the step below, which is ad creatives. And so when you look into ad creatives now, ad creatives in themselves, I'm not sitting here and saying, hey, this is easy. No, of course not. But I'm saying if you have a strong offer with a solid product market fit, with an offer that is, again, it's something that is in demand with a market that is not fully super sophisticated. And so they're much more likely to receive well the offer that you have to give them with a well thought and built funnel or conversion mechanism that was picked and crafted specifically for the persona and audience we're targeting with a very specific goal in mind. Your ad creatives are going to perform. Like what I'm saying here is unless you're a total idiot, which I honestly think that 99% of people watching this video aren't, well, any creative you're going to launch is going to work. It might not be the most profitable, and this is going to be the key difference here. You might be able to get like an 0.8, a 1, a 1.2, a 1.5 ROAS with very basic ad creatives because you don't need to compensate as much because you have a strong offer and a good funnel conversion mechanism. But now, if you start producing high quality ad creatives that are aligned with the dream outcome of your offer. So in other words, you have figured out your mass market desire, right? So mass market desire right here. So the angle of this ad creative, you have a solid persona defined clearly in this ad creative. And where I'm getting at to you here, you're going to see this in a second. It's congruence. So here, awareness level, so the positioning of my ad creative, and sophistication of the market, which guess what? I spoke about these same concepts earlier here, right? All of these 4 pillars are also found in how you're going to frame your offer, right? Because the more sophisticated the market is, the more you're going to have to work on your perceived likelihood of achievement. Dream outcome is your mass market desire. You, of course, have to keep your persona in mind when building said offer. And so funnel is going to be the same thing. Whatever claim you put on your funnel, well, that claim actually is the offer that you've built out at the start. And so therefore, where I'm getting at with this is you're going to aim for congruence. What your ad creatives do is they actually close the loop, meaning you should have a good offer, you should have a good conversion mechanism, and creatives simply come in to close that loop and say, okay, well, I figured out what offer I need to do based on my research. I figured out what market to go after. I figured out what funnel to build. And now my creatives need to be congruent with whatever is on the back end. And so the truth is creatives are, and I could have reversed this funnel actually and put creatives first because creatives are the first touch point that the audience is going to see or perceive, right? Ad creatives are going to be the thing that's going to go and show on people's feed and try to convert them, through this funnel. And so I could reverse that and say, you start with creatives, then, you lead to the funnel and mechanism. And then from there, once they're there, people then learn about the offer as an example. Okay. Or I could even say that the offer feeds into both the funnel and mechanism and the ad creative. So whatever you want to perceive it, but it's like all that's going to happen is when you're going to be pumping out a bunch of ad creatives, you're going to start to figure out the tweaks in your positioning of the offer, in the persona, in the awareness level, in the sophistication. And once you find a messaging that resonates on the ad creatives, then all you got to do is simply go back to your funnel and your offer in itself and simply tweak it to fit the variables that you figured out work best on the front end with the ad creatives. Real quick, my creative editing team at the ad agency uses this brand new tool called Magic, which helps us edit video ads much faster, utilizing AI to add captions to our videos, automatically add relevant B-roll, or cut longer form VSLs and video ads we make into shorter clips. So with that said, check out a link in the description down below to try Magic today and use code Lalonde for 10% off. And what I want to emphasize here is like sometimes people ask me, Justin, I'm in a very saturated market. Okay, there's a lot of competitors, a lot of people selling the same product or the same service. Well, the truth is saturation doesn't really exist. It's more so you're playing on the wrong sophistication stage. And I want to get back to that point one last time in this video, which is, again, it's perceived likelihood of achievement. It's like a lot of people, they're going to do an offer or they're going to come out and say, buy my alpaca socks. Yeah, sure. But like, why do I care? There's a lot of other companies that sell like alpaca socks, right? Or socks made from like alpacas, like skin or wool, right? So it's like, well, great. Okay, but why do I care about you specifically? I've seen a lot of ads. I've probably even bought socks from similar companies in the past. So like, why you, right? Well, you would want to then work on the offer to fit the sophistication of the market, either introducing a new mechanism or increasing your perceived likelihood of achievement with a better guarantee or claim. So there's no such thing again as a saturated market. It's just you're not having an offer that is tailored for the sophistication stage of the market. Another thing that I see happening quite a lot and like a downfall for a lot of marketers or brand owners is that their view of what an offer or product market fit represents gets very skewed if they've been doing a lot of organic. Okay. So organic is not good really to help you crack an offer or product market fit because it's all warm traffic. Anybody who sees you organically and converts from Reels or TikToks or YouTube videos, there's like going back to the perceived likelihood of achievement is actually much higher because they feel like they trust you. It's very funny how this works from a psychology standpoint, but when people see a post on their feed, right, it says sponsored or whatever, they're like immediately, oh, it's an ad, right? But when they see an organic post and they follow you and they consume your content and they like your post and then interact with them, they're like, oh, fuck, this guy's smart, right? I want to buy from this guy or I want to buy from this company or whatever. And so typically, like your offer that you've built for an organic marketing channel like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok is skewed in the sense that it's not really going to be scalable with paid ads because now this market knows you. It's the same reality of having worked in the past with local business owners as an example, who you go to any sort of real estate agent as an example and you tell them, hey, I'm going to send you some very cold leads here. Can you close those leads? A lot of these guys are going to be like, well, yeah, of course, I'm an amazing closer. And so when you realize that who they're used to closing is like the friend of their cousin Francine or their mom's, childhood friend or an uncle or an aunt, and it's like all their warm network that they're used to working with, which of course is easier to convert. Whereas now if you send them like crystal cold leads, they're unable to actually convert them because there's like no trust established and their pitch or offer is not tailored to a cold audience. That happens very often when people start first with organic marketing and then try to go with paid ads. So I would advise, like most people, if you're, again, getting started with Facebook or with ads or with your brand this year, start with cold marketing. Like, don't do organic first. What could happen is if you go organic only is you might stay stuck with organic growth. It's like your paid ads are typically going to be only able to scale to a small budget because they're going to be dependent on what you do organically, because your paid ads are going to be very product aware because you don't know any better and your offer hasn't really been cracked for cold marketing. So your ads depend on like how much kind of awareness you've created organically. And so it just creates this kind of environment that is difficult for you to scale from. And so I'm going to put a screenshot on screen right now of one of our clients that we've helped do all of this from scratch. Like, we built their offer, we helped him find product market fit, pick their market to get into, built his funnel, built his, in his case was a VSL funnel. So built the VSL script, created the ads, and now he's like printing book calls every single day with his offer. So that's one example of doing this. Then another screenshot on screen right now of our client case study playlist here on YouTube, which mainly is about e-commerce and info product businesses. You can find tons of brands out there where I talk about us having to work with the client on their funnel or offer first and then working on the ad creatives. It always starts there. And so if you made it all the way through this video, you'll be happy to please that one of our new services at the agency now is full funnel consulting. So on top of doing paid ads done for you for clients, we also now help consulting with the entire funnel and offer. And so if you're an e-commerce brand owner or an info product business, I invite you to check out the first link in the description down below to book in a call with myself and the team at paidadvertising.com. Or if you prefer joining my inner circle and work one-on-one with me to have me review your ads, funnels, offer, name it, then check out a second link down below to join our Ad Engine one-on-one inner circle program. That'll wish you an amazing day. Check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce and info product marketing tips, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.